We're joined by Susie Lupert, Executive Director of the American Camp Association for New Jersey and New York. Susie, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
So this is typically the time where children are starting to think about summer camp and that break. However, this particular year is likely to be very different. What can we expect?
Yeah, I mean, right now, quite honestly, we're still trying to work out on the state level what exactly summer camp is going to look like. We've gotten some guidance now from the CDC, which just came out yesterday. And the American Camp Association has been writing our own guidelines with an independent public health firm. That's made up of a group of experts from the American Pediatric Association and pediatricians and camp experts and others to try to determine what guidelines would really make sense rather, sorry. And we are at the point where we honestly need to know from the states if they feel that it is safe for children to gather, and really specifically in what kind of numbers can children gather that feel safe. That is the most important thing to us in the world. We want to run camps. We think it's important to run camps. We think that it's extremely important for children to be back out there, to be socializing, to be off their screens, to be outside. And we also understand that we can only do that if there's a safe path for that to happen.
When does summer camp normally begin? Because it's already mid-May. So is it likely that you'll have some type of guideline to follow?
Yeah, so summer camps do typically start at the end of June after school lets out. And yes, our expectation is that there will be guidelines in place by then, but it is up to the state to let us know if they want to license summer camps. The states are the licensing bodies for the summer camps, not the American Camp Association. We simply provide resources for camps like guidelines to be able to follow, but then it is up to the states to determine for themselves if it makes sense.
In your personal opinion, because again, the state is the one who needs to determine the guidelines, do you think it's likely to open? Because I read a couple of articles, just a variety of articles from local newspapers, and one mentioned that there's day camps and there's overnight camps, and that perhaps in this particular article, it said that perhaps the overnight camps could open as long as you're testing the children and the staff that are going to go in, so at that time, and then monitoring during that period. There was another article that I read that I guess local camps, like in municipalities that offer them, that they were probably going to be doing things online. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really interesting. And on any given day, it seems like you can make the argument for what would be the safest way for children to gather. Is it, getting a group of kids and staff together, testing all of them, figuring out who is positive or negative for COVID-19, putting them into a camp and actually, quarantining them together that would be an overnight camp situation. And that feels like a real possibility. And then other days, maybe it feels safer that you would have a day camp where you would be drawing children from a small geographical area. You would, know where everyone was coming from, and be monitoring them throughout the day and throughout the weeks in a day camp. Honestly, we need the states to help us determine what feels right. We have definitely, our own guidelines are coming out actually today. And the CDC did release guidelines yesterday, and there's going to be more details from the CDC over the coming days. And so between those two things, we do think that we have a scenario in which children can gather safely in smaller group sizes, with more oversight, with more cleaning, with more hygiene, with certain PPE equipment being used in certain times. But again, the states have to be at a point where gatherings of more than just a few people at a time feel safe.
Have you been hearing from parents that typically go to different camps, or, well, you're kind of more of a central location, so that you wouldn't be responsible for locations where the children are going, but have you been hearing from parents, from, some of administrators, and like, what's the word among them? Like, do parents want to participate in this?
Yeah, I would say that parents are, like everybody else, a little bit all over the place. I'm a parent myself, and so I've really been thinking about this with my own children. I think that part of this is really about childcare, to be honest. I think that there's a lot of families out there that are going to be required to go back to work soon. And the big question will be, That's great, but where do we put our children? How do we have childcare for our children? So childcare to us is a huge issue, and it's one that really camps could be helpful with if it feels like it's a safe space for children. So we are definitely looking at that. And so from those families, it's essential. They have to get back to work. We all want the economy to reopen. They need somewhere safe to put their children. So camp feels like a really natural place for that. And for some families, it doesn't feel right this summer, and so they might be opting out, even if their camp is open. And so those camps are working with both sides of the equation. I would say that the operators and directors that I'm speaking to, it's an influx of parents saying, please, please open, and parents saying, I don't feel comfortable, with my own child. And obviously every family has a different scenario. Are you living in a multi-generational household where you might be concerned about, older people? Does your child have some sort of compromised immune system or some other medical issues that you have to be conscious about? So every family is dealing with their own set of challenges. And we just hope that if there is a way for kids to safely gather, that camps can be an option.
Susie, thank you so much for your time and for sharing some insight on this particular topic.